What is going on, everybody? So today we're going to be taking a look at a build that I just made a little bit of tweaks to. If you guys haven't been watching the channel recently, you guys saw that I actually put out the Imperial Dynasty holster, how to get it, and I wanted to add it to one of my builds. While it may not hit as hard, it's actually pretty good for that crowd control, what you would see in a group as you guys are seeing in this gameplay. It allows you to really distract that first enemy who might be targeting you, and then allow you to still spread all of your skills out and still get in a corner. And the fact that you can do this multiple times as soon as the cooldown's over, this can actually end up spreading to other enemies. So it's actually a really cool talent to have. While might not hit as hard as the Vial Mask, it's still a pretty cool piece to use. And what I'll do is I'll show you the full build breakdown of this video, and then you guys will see this gameplay as we guys are talking about the build. But yeah, this build right here is actually one of those really good crowd control builds, and you guys can run this a lot of different ways. You guys don't have to use this holster, but I wanted to add the holster to show you guys that it can really work in those harder difficulties, for the fact that the first enemy, you can really catch him on fire, and then he really can't do anything, and that allows you to really just spread that fire, throw out those shock traps, and really control the battlefield as your team is attacking. But yeah, let's get into the build. So we are using the Technician. Now, I also recommend running the Survivalist, so you can run either one of these. The good thing about the Survivalist, that will allow your teammates to hit, I think it's 10% more damage towards enemies with status effects, which you'll be doing. And if you're in a group play, that's great. If you're running this solo, you're probably not doing a mission, you're probably just doing like those little side missions, then you can run something like this. Or if you're in a group, you can still run the Technician class, so that way you can have a little bit more armor. You guys see I'm at 913,000 armor. But ideally, if you're gonna run this in a group, I would take off that one blue roll, make it all yellows, and then run this, so that way everybody's getting extra damage towards those status effect enemies. And that's what's really good about the Survivalist. For the weapons, you really don't shoot too much with this build, but yeah, any weapon with in sync, or if you get the perfectly in sync with like the test subject, these are always great, because you have the assault rifle damage, health damage, damage to targets out of cover. You have perfectly in sync, and that's going to give you that 40% extra weapon damage and 40% extra skill damage, as long as you're hitting simultaneously. For the secondary, you can either run with the Pestilence, or you can run with the Scorpio. Really up to you. Remember, if you're hitting an enemy, all of this will transfer if you end up killing them with this. So if you get that poison, disorient, shock, and you end up killing them right at near the end of them already being on with some type of status effect, it would work pretty good. So yeah, you can run this, Pestilence. Really you don't really shoot too much with this build, that's the one thing, but because it's all status effects, crowd control. Test subject is great because it helps you get that additional 40% skill damage. So for the mask, you guys can see we are running a 4-piece Eclipse protocol. So we have the status effects, 15%, skill, haste, hazard protection, and then indirect transmission. Your status effects now spread on kill to all enemies within 10 meters and refresh 50% of that duration. You skill tier, status effects, and skill haste. Now, some of you guys might have watched my previous build on this one, and I was running something like the Vial Mask with the status effect, hazard protection. And the reason why you like that Vial Mask, because it does help you hit harder, because remember, toxic delivery, status effects also apply a damage overtime debuff for 10 seconds, which is a lot of damage, especially if you're running a status effects build, because the bottom part says total damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade damage. So definitely a lot of damage out of this build if you run the Vial Mask, but I wanted to do something different, and I like running it this way too. Both ways definitely work really good together. So we have this one up to you. So we're going with the Eclipse Protocol Mask though. For the chest is our second piece of Eclipse Protocol. So we have skill tier, status effect, and skill haste. Remember, the chest piece also increases indirect transmission from 10 meters to 15 meters, and also refreshes the percentage from 50% to 75%. So indirect transmission, remember, your status effects now spread on kill. So every time you get a kill, all that is spread, as you guys were seeing in the gameplay there. Once you kill one enemy, just spread. So that means that shock's gonna spread, that fire is gonna spread, just everything's gonna spread as soon as you kill that enemy, whatever status effect he currently has on him. The Imperial Dynasty holster, this is the holster that allows you to get close enough to those enemies. If you look, Dragon's Glare, while in combat, applies a burn to enemies closest to you within 20 meters. So anybody within 20 meters, every 35 seconds, they will catch on fire. That can help you, especially if an enemy is pushing you and you have this on cooldown already. Boom, puts them on fire, they can't do anything. It comes with skill tier status effects, so it works good with the build, so we can still have full status effects throughout the build, and it does have hazard protection on there. I would rather like the skill haste on there, but hey, that's pretty fine. Doesn't really bother me too much. But yeah, Dragon's Glare, that's why it's a really cool effect. And the crazy thing about it is, if you do kill an enemy with this, right? With this, if you catch them on fire and they get close to another enemy, well, indirect transmission is gonna work too. So that's why they kind of go hand in hand. Ideally, it doesn't hit as hard as a biomass, but it's still pretty solid. For the knee pads, we're running with the golden knee pads for that 10% status effects. We have the 170,000 armor. Like I said, if you guys are gonna run the Survivalist, switch that to skill tier. Status effects, skill damage is what you want to go with there. And then for the gloves, we have skill tier, status effects. And then the backpack, status effects, skill haste, skill tier. And then the backpack also has a really cool talent called amplifies all damage you deal to status effect enemies by 30%. So that means you're going to do more damage when they are on fire or shocked, whatever. It's pretty cool. And that's all damage, so that's you and your teammates shooting that enemy. So that's what's really cool about that. For the skills, I'm running the shock trap. So the shock trap right there, if you guys take a look at it, 16 traps, and the cooldown is 37 seconds. It's a lot quicker, especially with this build. Everything comes back a lot pretty quick. It's a little quicker than 37 seconds, it seems like. And the duration lasts a long time. So if you can get one of these, this will definitely, and you end up killing that enemy, and that shock transfers to other enemies. It's like a chain reaction, so it works really good in that crowd control, especially if you get groups of enemies all together. As you guys see right here, like, it just literally just keeps them in place, and your teammates can drop them pretty quick. And if you can get a couple kills off, that will spread, and hopefully your fire is spreading too, because we are running the chem launcher, we are running the fire starter, which that is what you guys see blowing up every time we set that off. And remember, guys, you guys can set this off once you guys shoot it out. If you double tap the R1, if you're on controller, your top bumper button, it will automatically shoot off. I forget what it is on PC, but you can get this to naturally just shoot off. So that's what's really cool about this build. But yeah, that's the build right here, guys. If you guys have any questions on this, it's just a different version of running it. I like trying out different pieces on builds just to make them different. That's what I always tell you guys. Even though I put out a build, someone else puts out a build, you guys could have almost the same build, but if you change one little piece, it still makes it kind of your own build. So just like I went with my first one with the vial mask, I took off the vial mask and I swapped out some pieces. I took off the holster, put a different holster in a different spot. So I put the knee pads versus the mask. Just switch little pieces here and there, and you'll see builds come together, and you guys will have fun. But yeah, that's the build right there. If you guys have any questions, if I missed anything, let me know. I know sometimes these aren't perfect, but they're great to put out for you guys to have fun, play with, and then just test them out yourself. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you guys don't know how to get the holster, the Imperial holster, I will put a link to it in the description. It was one of the more recent videos I put, as I'm doing that whole how to get every exotic. I'm updating all of them and putting them out. So hopefully you guys enjoy those. I will see you guys in the next one, but until then, nothing but skills out.